Ever stood freezing in the snow, wishing you could instantly teleport to the blazing hot surface of the sun just for a nanosecond? To warm up? Sounds harmless enough, right? Just a quick flash, then instantly back home, safe and cozy. But could a trip that brief really warm you up, or would it unleash something far more shocking? Let's dive into the insane science behind teleporting to the sun. And trust me, the truth is stranger and scarier than you've ever imagined. Imagine you're an 8-year-old kid shivering as you shovel snow on a bitterly cold Colorado day. You're desperate for warmth, so desperate that you dream up a wild scenario, teleporting instantly to the sun's scorching surface just for a single nanosecond. Sounds clever, right? Just enough time to get cozy, but surely not enough to get burned. At least that's what you'd hope. But here's the catch. Is 1 nanosecond really as harmless as it sounds, or have you just signed yourself up for the worst idea ever? Let's break down what actually happens. First off, let's set the scene. The sun's surface burns at around 5,800 Kelvin. That's roughly 10,000 degrees Fahrenheit. Sure, it's blisteringly hot compared to anything on Earth, but how much heat could really hit you in a nanosecond? After all, 1 nanosecond is astonishingly short, just enough time for light to move about 1 foot. Seems pretty harmless, right? Well, here's the kicker. In such a brief flash, would your body even register the heat, or would it pass unnoticed? The answer isn't as straightforward as you'd think, and it's about to get even weirder. Now let's talk about your eyes. Normally, you avoid staring at the sun, but in this scenario, it's impossible not to. You're literally face to face with a fiery wall filling your entire vision. In that one fleeting nanosecond, roughly a microjoule of energy floods your eyes. Surprisingly, that's about as much light as you'd get from quickly opening and closing your eyes in front of your computer screen. But here's what's wild. Your eyes wouldn't even have enough time to react instantly. Instead, you'd teleport back home, thinking everything was fine, only to see a brilliant, lingering flash moments later as your retinas finally catch up to reality. But that's just your eyes. What about your skin? Here's where things get interesting. You might imagine your skin sizzling immediately upon arrival, but the reality is surprisingly mild. During your single nanosecond on the sun's surface, your skin absorbs just about 10 to 5 joules per square centimeter of energy. To put that in perspective, holding your finger in a simple lighter flame for 1 second delivers about 5 joules per square centimeter, enough for a painful burn. So, weirdly enough, the brief sun visit is actually far gentler than a quick brush with a lighter flame. You wouldn't even feel it. Seems safe enough, right? Well, that's only if you nailed the coordinates perfectly. But what if, just what if, you missed and ended up somewhere much hotter? Here's where the nightmare scenario begins. Sure, the sun's surface is scorching, but compared to its core, it's practically chilly. While the surface hovers around a few thousand degrees, the sun's interior reaches a staggering several million degrees. Suddenly, your harmless little nanosecond isn't so harmless anymore. In fact, it becomes a deadly ticking clock. Because once you're trapped deep inside that nuclear furnace, even for the tiniest fraction of a second, you're in trouble beyond imagination. So, just how bad is it? Let's take a quick peek at what physics has to say about this horrifying scenario. Brace yourself, because physics doesn't sugarcoat things. According to something called the Stefan-Boltzmann law, which calculates heat absorption, spending just 1 femtosecond inside the sun's core would deliver enough energy for a severe second-degree burn. And here's the kicker. 1 nanosecond equals 1,000,000 femtoseconds. That means your brief trip into the sun's interior isn't just dangerous, it's catastrophic. Instantly, you'd be bombarded by intense radiation, X-rays powerful enough to penetrate deep inside your body, cooking your organs and destroying your DNA from the inside out. In other words, teleporting into the sun might seem harmless at first, but physics says you're basically microwaving yourself at cosmic levels. But hey, maybe Greek myths had it right all along. You've probably heard the ancient story of Icarus, the boy who flew too close to the sun until his wings melted and he plunged to his doom. But was it really just the sun's heat that caused his downfall? Surprisingly, the truth is a bit different. It's not merely about how hot the sun is, but how long you stay exposed. Melting, burning, or vaporizing doesn't happen instantly. It takes heat and time combined. Had Icarus simply made quick, tiny jumps closer to the sun, he might have survived. In fact, as your hypothetical nanosecond visit shows, even an insanely hot environment can seem harmless if you're there for only an instant. but linger just a bit too long. And like Icarus, you'll discover the brutal truth behind heat and time. So what really happens if you teleport to the sun for just 1 nanosecond? If you land on the surface, the result is surprisingly underwhelming. A faint flash in your eyes, barely any heat on your skin, and a story that sounds cooler than it feels. But if you're off by even a fraction of a degree and end up inside the sun, you're toast, literally. Your cells, your DNA, your insides obliterated before your brain even knows what hit you. It turns out, in space and science, even the tiniest moment can mean the difference between curiosity and catastrophe. So next time you're freezing and daydreaming about solar teleportation, maybe just grab a blanket instead.